I do have a little recording thing up in the corner there.
There we go. Now we're recording. All right, everybody be on their best behavior now. All right, so we're kind of kicking off another fireside chat here with the Deckathon 2021, I don't know, syllabus, I guess you'd call it. And kind of got the crew assembling and going over a bunch of the overall just kind of celebrating DACs and interesting uses and things along that line. And of course, we've been celebrating Alien Worlds. You should take a look at it, alienworlds.io. And they've got some interesting concepts related to game and blockchain integration and DACs and governance related to that. And so happy to have Rob here on, which is one of the founders, I guess you'd say, of the whole Alien World, and I guess the father of the lore, right? That's what everybody else.
Yeah, you could probably call me that.
And everybody else is, I don't know, that came out of Rob's head. You should talk to him. So that's why we thought that we might have you on and kind of have a round session, a little different than the one this morning, which was more, centralized streaming out. This one's we got the community members connecting in, and so a lot of collaboration back and forth. But just wanted to get you rolling, maybe go over a little bit. I know you went over it this morning, but a little of the background of the lore and where it came from, and maybe the community has questions to ask. I mean, David's been adding some lore on his own, so
yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. Yeah, so I mean, I suppose over the meter kind of explain it a little bit. That the whole initial concept and everything really came from the idea of scooting around and just coming up with this fundamental idea that, well, wouldn't it be great to have like some weird sort of open space where on alien worlds where people could just go around and find artifacts and find other things and then mix up and do stuff with them and the likes. And I played around with it a little bit for a while, and there was different iterations, but obviously so a lot of the lore and stories which are made up at the time came before we really thrashed it out into what it's become. So a lot of it came from historical sci-fi type stuffs and this common collectiveness around what an alien looks like and what an exoplanet looks like and what's kind of been built into the world psyche around that type of thing through science fiction stories and TV and all that sort of stuff. So I think you see throughout Alien Worlds on its basis, a lot of it does look very much like a lot of other things which have come about, especially mixed mashes of a number of different sci-fi themes. I'm not sure if everyone has seen the preamble or the key backstory, or even the video around it yet. I'm not sure. Have people actually seen that yet, Lisa? Do you?
Well, I mean, some have. We actually, EOSUSA did a video.
I know, yes, you did.
Yeah, recapping the preamble or whatever.
I have the link. I'll find it and grab the link while you're talking.
Yeah. So, I mean, the whole the starting premise is that that through Bitcoin and obviously Satoshi was an alien and he was sent here by the Yoshis to kind of seed Bitcoin, which would then later be used for people to find weird and strange algorithms within there, which lead to a way of being able to travel to alien worlds. But then the idea is that obviously things get much, much worse on Earth over the next 30 years or so. And
I can't imagine
control the problems. And so people just want to leave. So suddenly we've got this route to leave. And so everyone starts off trying to go and explore alien worlds where they meet up with all these alien races, and things have been set up in this very bizarre, different way through these ancient alien civilization type tomes, which kind of hopefully the idea always was that they start to re-emerge through events and meta things within within the ecosystem, which are things which we're probably going to bring on board later. So there are some things which we want to bring on board about how things start to tie up around specific pieces of land and particular history, and that's supposed to come through on the questing type side of things. But so what we've really done is we've written up a few pieces of lore, and there's a few snippets around as well. There's stuff on the cards. There's a little bit of a basis in history on the planets. But what we want to do going forward is try and open it up an awful lot to the community to get more of a community-built lore rather than a centralized lore as well. So almost like a hard top level, but just has a real framework, but then opens it up to so much more interpretation and so much more stuff. And that's kind of in tying in with the whole decentralized nature of Alien Worlds as well. So I think, I may as well say it up front that what we're looking for, or what we're going to be doing in the next week or so, is we'll be announcing contests which will include just fiction elements and art elements for the community to come and kind of help to build it up as well. And there's going to be some really good prizes around it as well, which we think will be great.
So I guess that's a good kind of entry segue point to it, is the official, I don't know, would you call that the official first Alien World contest or community contest?
It is probably the first official, let's say, creative contest. So obviously we've had loads of contests, people running Good Vibes and so on, and Crypto Monkeys, but yes, I think this is the first kind of creative contest that will be out there.
Correct. That's exciting. Like I say, I know some people that have some great ideas for some lore. I'm looking at them on the screen. So, like I say, hope to see some good submissions.
Yeah. So one thing that we're really going to try and do, which is particularly interesting to me, and it's inspired by David here, quite honestly, that we really want to get to tie in with particular NFTs, so that when we have fiction, we have that it actually references back to specific NFTs. So for instance, female human 27135 or something, or it actually ties back to Magor 2613, or something like this. So there's an actual tie back and an actual story for particular NFTs, and I think that will be that's the type of thing that in the future, having stories and context around NFTs is going to be really interesting and a powerful driver of community and value.
Interesting. Well, my light bulb just went off, and Lisa sitting on the call, is I have like number 6, there's 2 peacemakers, I think, right? I have number 6 of both of those peacemakers. So, or maybe number 6 and number 8. So
it could well be that maybe there's a story around that.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, is I guess I got to work with Lisa on some of the original peacemakers that and
the early peacemakers before the peacemakers went all mad and started waging.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say, is there's like 100,000 of these abundant cards now. So it's.
I know, it's amazing. I to do a show just on the peacemakers.
Yeah, no, Lisa's particularly interested in the peacemakers, and
she is. That's why I was getting to think about that. Is that if you want to tie it to particular, I don't know, assets, I guess.
But what you do have to remember there is that peacemakers aren't necessarily peacemakers. I'm not sure if people realize this, but if you go onto the cards, you see it may not be quite what you think.
Correct. I remember having that conversation, and Lisa said, I really hope that a peacemaker is a true peacemaker. Did you ever ask and confirm with Rob at least enough before?
Well, I think you can see it straight away. Yeah. So the gem peacemaker, for instance, you can see that it's going, beware of greys bearing gifts. So does that actually mean that this grey peacemaker is actually a peacemaker, or are they slyly trying to do a bit of a taking over the native lands type moment?
I like.
I took a notice to that because in the crown community, we're always giving gifts. So I had an affinity to that one. But once
beware of Lisa. Yes. But
I know, once I think about it, I was like, wait a minute, what is peace anyway? Do you have to have war? And so we actually have on the schedule for this week a group to get together to talk about starting the Peace DAC, to have events every month to explore the concepts of peace and fighting. And I thought this is especially apropos as the Thunderdome comes out, because when I first got in the World's official group, everyone was talking about killing each other. I'm like, what are they doing? And they're like, oh no, we kill each other all the time in games and we're good friends. I'm like, okay, I'll try this.
It's a computer thing.
Yeah, so you remember the other Great Peacemakers tagline is, Greys are particularly skilled at using the idea of peace to their advantage. So when you start getting that all together, you do think maybe they've got another agenda going on there.
Well, then I guess it's up to Lisa to write a narrative from number 6s to
I see number 6 there as well. 6 can be too many 6s together. Yeah, that's
true. Well, like I think it's 6 and 8, or maybe 2 6s or something like that. I don't know, but they're low ones. And like say from the beginning of time of, well, not the beginning of time, maybe the first 5 were evil and the 6th one.
Well, it could be that the first 6 were actually good and then the 6th one became evil.
There you go, right? There you go. So Lisa, there's your entry to be able to right the potential wrong of peacemakers from back in time, is provide your lore.
So just going on that, for instance, of peacemakers, look, we don't know an awful lot about them. We know that Greys kind of like that they aren't the strongest of the aliens, so maybe but they are clearly very smart, and they they have this certain way about them that's obviously peace related but not. And obviously they really don't like reptilioids, because we can see that on other sections, and reptilians really don't like them, but no one likes reptilioids, so they're kind of on their own there. So they particularly distrust each other, the reptilioids and the Great Peacemakers. So we can kind of tie in there that maybe there's some interplay there that should be played with.
And well, Michael's probably going to go get as many reptilioids as he possibly can.
Well, yeah.
I got a few of them. I think I actually shined some gold ones. I think I might have like number 2 gold or something like that. I don't know. I guess I'll have to look.
I think we have to get David involved in this storyline.
Well, and that's what I'm just waiting for him to chime in. And I mean, he's, I don't know, Magor, right? I mean, he kind of exploring Magor. I don't know, David, give us a little bit about your lore that you've been cranking out here recently.
Yeah, can you hear me good?
Absolutely.
Great. So yeah, Magor, Magor is like this place where miners go who don't want to be so much involved with nosy folks that try to meddle in their affairs, and they just want to make a quiet living, and they don't talk about much why it is so great to be on Magor, so no one actually knows. But there have been some field notes discovered on the networks. No one knows how they got there. So there's one miner on Magor, he apparently created a diary because maybe he was bored, and he shared what he was doing daily. So now there's a little bit more known about the miners on Magor, the crafty miners as they like to call themselves, because they have a lot of challenges every day, because Magor is just mountains and hungry wildlife basically, and so they have to be very inventive and creative to manage going through the day and still be a lot more profitable than on other planets. That's why they are on Magor, and there's some secrets to that, and they are not all well known.
Yeah. So one thing, I'm not sure if you seen this yet, or if you ever thinking of tying this in now. Magor's obviously the most hostile planet due to all the volcanic activity. And they say is that the sandy part of Magor is actually considered a bit of an anomaly, and it's rumored that there's an awful lot of secrets underneath that sand. So you see the big sandy area on Magor. There's intended that there will be some secret areas around that beneath the sands of Magor, which is going to be an interesting one to unravel.
Interesting.
There you go. Straight from the mind himself. So I
Well,
don't know.
it's all there on the planetary description.
Oh, well, maybe I should RTFM more, right?
Yeah.
Look, I just started getting into the mathematics of Yates and his contracts and figuring out the trillium stats. Like I said, I didn't read any of the rest of the manual.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, on again, these are things which they aren't necessarily really easy to find. Certainly not yet. And in some way or another, we really want to build out a lot more lore, because it just adds an awful lot more color and more interest into an ecosystem if you've got a lot of stories and things around everything that you're interacting with.
Oh, absolutely. The deeper the story goes, the more involved you can get people. You can have that surface layer of, okay, there's planets, there's a game, they battle, whatever. But then, yeah, I mean, if you really want to get involved and get stoked about it, there's lots to learn and little nuggets and tidbits and histories.
And I think it would be so good to be able to, get stories together and get really good stories together, and maybe even have some videos of some of these stories, and really build it into a really cool fictional ecosystem.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, I know you've kind of touched a little bit on the contest. I mean, is it open enough to provide the details, or really just kind of an announcement in the media?
Okay, so the announcement on it, we're going to be putting forward all the details of it next week. And we'll have a post on it. We'll have a full post on it on Medium, which will outline the rules around it and the timeline. In general, I think we're going to have it open for about 3 weeks. Is my thinking, and then we'll probably have a week of judging, and then we will get the things, and we'll also outline the prizes and how we're going to decide who gets what.
Awesome. Well, like I say, looking forward to it. I'm amazed at some of the creativity that fire. So
I think I would venture to say I think there's a huge amount of creativity out there that just needs a little bit of a push to be unleashed, and it would be really cool.
I agree. That's what I like to say, is that I think that you give them a little bit of a basis, and even some of these little tidbit nuggets, like you say, is that I don't know whether Lisa will have time in the next couple of weeks to do that, but maybe she could find somebody to try to.
Lisa has infinite time, I've understood now. She just seems to be able to do endless stuff.
She never does anything. I mean, every time I catch her, she's always chatting. I mean,
chat all day long. It's super fun. It's actually true. Hey, Rob, while I have you, I'm really kind of interested in the history of Veles. It looks like such water-filled planet, or covered planet, I guess I should say. And it seems like a really nice place to relax, but I was curious what your thoughts were about it.
Well, right. The official storyline on that, or the only tidbits we really have on it, is that it's got almost as much water as Earth, and it's got some of the most beautiful landscapes found thus far in the universe. So it's pretty cool, and all the islands have some really unique exoflora. So there's some really interesting stuff there. There's a bit of an affinity around Nordic aliens and Veles for some reason, but aside from that, it's a bit of a blank canvas. We know that it's got a nice kind of very hospitable way about it, so it's got a load of nice islands and plenty of grassland and sandy beaches and stuff. But but who knows? Maybe there are hidden things around which we perhaps should be aware of. I think this is the thing that I can see that over time, like any good ecosystem, things change. And currently, I would say Veles is probably the nicest place you could possibly retire to, let's say. But that may well change. So.
One other.
I'm just looking.
Oh, go ahead, David.
I was just looking at the technical blueprint and searching for the planetary exposés, and didn't see it in the index. Is it?
Yeah, it's not. It's not in there. We need to put it in there. If you right, so where would you find it at the moment? Maybe if you go onto Discord, it's really hidden away. If you go onto Discord, you go into the planet channels. If you go onto the Alien Worlds Discord, the planetary channels, you'll see pinned within the planetary channels. There are the official kind of little snippet on there, which will also it will be on the government's site when it gets launched very soon as well, when it's having the things. But you can see a pinned message that Michael pinned there.
Right. Yeah, I see. Okay. Okay. It's like you got to deal with Discord. I see.
No.
Only for Discord users.
Yes, yeah. Well, it was initially a Discord exclusive, but obviously now we're bringing it out a bit more. And obviously now people are actually asking more and more about the lore. We kind of have to start pulling it together a little bit more than we have.
Interesting. Okay. I was wondering because I read the blueprint and I didn't see anything about lore.
It's a very good point.
For my Magor, I just invented like I didn't have any access to this stuff, so it might be some conflicting stuff that I came up with. But no, I'm just copying it to chat.
Yes. So let's just say that this is kind of kept a little bit open for things, but this is a starting point that people can look at.
I'm curious, just off the top of your head, other than the evil brewing, what's your opinion or the back of Cavion over there?
It's really interesting. I'm really surprised there was attention on it, because when we was designing up the planets, Cavion was my one was going, right, so this is going to be the rocky planet that just, it's all really just rock and there's
I got a lot of rocky and icy deserts.
Yeah, so this is really like for rocky and icy desert-y planet. I imagine people won't get too excited about this one. And then all of a sudden people wanted to take over Cavion. So I go, oh, that's very odd. I honestly thought that everybody would be going after Ike or Veles, but they seem to be the least popular two, which is quite funny.
Well, which one? Those are the smaller ones, right? Or Veles is
more in terms of land, because they've got some.
But you broke up there.
Oh, I broke up?
Yeah, you said Veles, and I asked about the size of the worlds, and I couldn't understand what you said.
Yeah, so they have some sea, so I suppose there's less land on them, but they have a lot less states than other planets, so it's quite interesting at the moment. I thought that people would like gravitate towards them because they're a little bit more Earth-like, but obviously people have kind of taken to preferring other types of planets. It's interesting.
Well, it's kind of crazy how the whole gameplay and everything develops, and some of the features and services and stuff, you know, that the folks are doing. I know, I think some other folks have kind of joined in and maybe can provide some of their, I don't know. I guess they don't have a lot of the lore, but some of the next ideas that they've got and some of the background on things. So we got, I think, Pramod's here, I think in the background somewhere. And then Wouter's here. Wouter, however you pronounce it.
So Wouter is very much leading together with Lisa our art angle. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all.
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, so we decided to do an art project to get some nice digital artists on Alien World. Yeah, and that was an idea, and we got to it, and we expanded the idea, brainstormed a bit about it. So we decided to reach out to talented digital artists on Instagram, on Twitter, and we told them what our plans were and are. And basically from that point it all started. Yeah, we've got some beautiful works, I think. The teaser campaign has started. Every day there will be a new teaser from one of the artworks. I think there are 21 in total, if I'm right. 21 different versions of 14 different artworks. So some have levels and others are just one-offs. Yeah, I think it's beautiful. So the teaser campaign will continue, and we'll release our first art event of the first series will be released soon, I think.
Yeah. So this is going to be a really great feature. I think people like, because obviously at the moment everybody just loves getting, especially really good NFTs that are produced by real artists who are producing great stuff. So we've kind of got this little program with them whereby they're kind of giving us the permission to drop loads of them on the art onto the miners, and they generally will keep a lot of the original or a lot of the early mints for their own purposes, whether they want to auction them or whether they want to have some other events or stuff around them as well. So I think that's another thing that we're going to be coming out with very well. Hopefully next week we'll be properly announcing it, and then people can start mining where they want to get the particular thing, because certain art will be linked to certain planets. So it'll be again, it'll be a little bit of a push on certain places, because some of it is tied back. For instance, we've had an artist who's done their interpretation of each planet. So obviously that you can only get that one from that particular planet. So, you know, the view of Velis or the Velis Shield Maiden can only be got on Velis and so on.
Makes sense. Thinking about how to thinking of the technical side of that. Anyway,
well, you're involved in that, so that's
like I say, that's when my gears started turning. But all right, focus, Michael. Anyway, so yeah, I mean the art's really cool. I mean, you know, there's all sorts of interpretations about, you know, what the artist meant whenever they I don't know, man, not what they meant, but how it plays into how they envisioned the tool. Like I remember I had to go. I now know what a cudgel. There you go. I was like, because Ted kept calling it a rock lobster, and I was like, actually, it's a stick.
It's a stick to beat people with. Yeah.
Correct. That's what I said. It's a stick you whack people with. That's what. Anyway, like I say, we've kind of all. What was it? The Draxos axe.
Yeah.
Looks like a broom. I think that one was a funny one that I heard. That they called it the broom.
For Draxos axe is it's pretty powerful, you know. It is.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think it's probably my favorite card. I go between it and the Glaver disc, just because I mean, I have the legendaries and the mythics and whatnot, but man, for the cost and power of it, and frequency, yeah, those are some of the stronger cards, and they're they're rare versus mythical or anything.
Well, I think the idea always was that to encourage some shining, having rare ones that once shines were really decent would be good. So, but they're still a lot more common, so it ties into the rarity aspects as well.
Chuck it back in the car.
Yeah, we'll have to. We still have to go pull the stats on how many burns and shines and all that have gone. Yeah. I know there are millions
that you could do analysis on now. I think I'm just when you look at the sheer amount of data that's around, you're just scratching the surface. We probably need some data scientists to come along and start digging into it.
Well, and that's what. Yeah, so it's a massive amount of data, and of course, the great news is, I mean, it's not like you even have to collect it now. It's all going on chain. You can always go back and reanalyze and regrind through it. So yeah, excited to see it all.
Maybe in 20 years' time, people will be doing their theses on Alien Worlds. They'll be doing their doctoral submissions on how gameplay's developed.
Hey, I can see how I could pull that off if I were in that situation. I mean, one of the bleeding edge games that integrated, the key blockchain features and helped bridge the gap between the I don't know, not competing chains, but I mean, the fact y'all are bridging over to ETH and integrating the two communities. So yeah, how revolutionary Alien Worlds was back in the day. So
yeah, that would be funny. Yeah, it would be nice.
Yeah, and so I know I saw Wouter in the chat there. I don't know if he wanted to provide some. I think he's running contests or I don't know. He's working some magic as well, correct? What you working on?
Yeah, I do multiple things. So the art project we just talked about. But I also do most of the giveaways on for Alien Worlds with the Gleam links and all the integrations. So we'll have to wait for perhaps maybe with the art event launching, we can also launch a new giveaway for people to participate in. Yeah, and I do the Instagram, and that's most of the stuff I do for Alien Worlds.
Fair enough. We're glad to have you here. And anything while you got a little bit of spotlight, anything you wanted to drop out there?
Yeah, so I'm really excited about the art event. It's been quite some work, but it's all coming together now. Most of the artworks are finished up pretty much now with the borders and the backside of the card. So everything is ready to go, I think. So it's just a little bit of waiting left to do, and then for the teaser campaign to continue, and then we can launch the event, and I think it will be awesome.
Excited about it. So,
sure thing. Yeah.
Well, now let's see where we're at. We got a little bit of time. I know there's a lot of people on the call. Maybe open it up for some questions about some of the things we've been chatting about.
I see Pramod and Michael joined too, so maybe they join in the lore conversation. Pramod's had something to do with the design, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah, hi guys. Yeah, so I've been working this week on the NFTs. Like, we plan to release the weapons and minion shining next week, so the dependency on that is on me. So so I guess by tonight I should be able to finish everything. And next,
just besides on that, Pramod is actually, he's the one who has basically designed up the shining effects. So he runs all the shining effects through his Unity tools and stuff to produce them.
yeah, so this week sorry, go ahead, Rob. Go on.
Oh no, there were lots of iterations to get
yeah. I mean, we could really make like a set of NFTs of all the iterations that I've done over the last 6 months to get the designs finalized.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great charity auction event. Is that make a one-of-one NFT of? I think I saw those. I don't remember what channel it was. The male human. It was like Andy Warhol painting of all the different, the crew cut, the goatee. I remember seeing that.
Yeah. Initially, the male human was a lot more like someone from a boy band.
Yeah, Michael wasn't very happy with the way he looked initially.
I saw there was one that was bald with a goatee. There was like I saw you could tell it was like they were really going through all the different, features. And that what it meant to me was just, I mean, every character and every whatever had that level of thought put into it. And, I mean, does he get facial hair? Does he not? Is he brown hair? Is he blue hair? Is he gray hair? I think I saw an old one in there, Anyway, that was just kind of cool to see that. But yeah, talking about I don't know, what do you call those? The Misfits? What was the Land of the Misfits? Wasn't that in one of those kid shows? Anyway, yeah, make some NFTs and make an event out of it.
I would love to see like an NFT with that, and then have it like cycle through the iterations, like every 2 seconds or something. And then you can have that would be like the normal one, right? And then you have the mythical one or whatever. It would morph between the iterations, and it will come out on the final iteration and whatever. But I can see that it would be awesome. I think people would love that, like the history in real time evolving.
Maybe maybe make a version of the card that, each shine level does do a different, iteration through its whatever. I don't know. You could have some fun with that. But yeah, I mean, I remember seeing I call it wasn't that Andy Warhol that did that? The painting a bunch of faces on there, but
different colors in the grid and stuff.
Correct. That's what, but it almost, the same picture over and over, just slightly different. I was like, yeah, I mean, that'd be really cool. And like I say, David's idea of actually using that and that animation, now that y'all have animation working on cards, right? Yates, did you get that fixed?
Yeah, so let's just say that's we got a Unity issue there. Unity, well, we found out a little bit late that Unity doesn't like GIFs very much, so that's one of the reasons why we're having a bit of a redesign within what's a web-based thing.
Yeah, I know. Ted was upset he couldn't see any of his super duper cards after he shined them.
Yeah. For about a couple of days, it was like this big blurb, and I was like, "Where's my excavators and my lucky drills?" And I was like, finally, when they showed up, I was like so happy, because I was like, I can click the button and see those beautiful cards. It's like, wow, it looks really nice.
I'm not so sure Yates might not have gone in there and personally just fixed it for you.
Yeah, I know. I know it was so. It's the only card. There's only 2 of them in the world, so.
Or maybe it was the other way around. Maybe he was like, I'm not fixing it just to taunt Ted.
it was getting to the point. It's just going like, look, this only affects one person.
I know, just me. The only card in the world. So yeah, I was like, I kind of felt bad that they had to go through that.
Right, definitely gotta fix it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I had the wax churl, but I wasn't ever going to use it. Like I said, I wasn't in game, so I was like, I don't care whether it works in game or not. It's in my wallet, baby. So yeah,
I have a question about the art. When me and Lisa were talking the other day, and we're like, can we do specific people like in space, like a blue wizard art? Because you know how Blue Wizard is, like he's really into himself. No, I shouldn't be saying that, but he likes to buy like cards that say Blue Wizard on them for like huge amounts of money. And if there was like a Blue Wizard you can mine in the with one of the art that comes out in the mining, that'd be amazing. I think it would probably sell for a lot of money, and if it had utility too, I don't know. That's asking too much, but We were talking about it, and like,
I mean, honestly, I don't think it'll be too hard to create a, you know, a legendary blue wizard or something avatar. I think,
yeah, that'd be amazing.
maybe that is something we should do.
I'm still looking
I
for
would
the
be
abundant
aware because Bear's blue.
EOSUSA potato cannon.
Yeah, but I mean, you are aware, like projectile type devices are very strictly banned within Alien Worlds.
Well, I also realized is that I'm going up against like photon blasters and stuff like that. So that's why I'm like, you know, I'm bringing a knife to a gunfight, but trying to think of something that's within theme.
You see, as soon as you start going into, you know, photon blasters and ray guns and Death Stars, you get pretty overpowered very quickly, and things start falling apart.
Correct. But I mean, you just got to use some imagination. So, but it's the same type of thing. Is that okay? So you're going to bring a sword as a weapon, but yeah, they've got some kind of, I don't know, super duper particle zapper.
That's the thing. Yeah. See, but I mean, I think we're all fully aware that in the universe, the Jedi, or in the Star Wars universe, for instance, the Jedi lightsaber is incredibly powerful, despite the fact that they've got endless ray guns and things around. But the Jedi lightsaber is supreme.
Well, that's what I say. It's all about what you build around it, as opposed to the physical aspects of it. A lot of times, you know. So.
All about the lore.
Correct. That's what I mean. The background of it. I mean, or I mean, even just special features. You wouldn't think that a lightsaber would be able to reflect the death rays or whatever, but they bounce them off, right? I mean,
there's a very interesting bit people haven't really looked into that. So on the plasma shields, you'll see a little bit of a snippet there that says that when plasma guns were outlawed, then most of them were turned into shields. So you can see there that there's a little bit of a history around what happened in that space.
Well, see, there you go.
Could
maybe
be
maybe
a black market plasma gun. Right, so that means there will be a rogue plasma weapon that is like the black market plasma blaster.
Around. You know, all of this Wild Westy stuff is got rogue stuff.
Well, it's now, what do you call it? X dimension. Like I say, maybe that's where they didn't outlaw it in the X dimension.
Yeah, or maybe the Y dimension, or some
right,
other
there
you come in. If who's to say there aren't an unlimited number of dimensions which can be opened up at some point?
Well, I think you're to say that, right?
Or potentially it can come more as a community force. So.
Hey, yeah. I have a question. I was trying to reflect on this morning. Who is the Federation?
Right, the Federation, I mean, it's really been put in place by EOSUSA, and there are effectively 4 members of the Federation. So there's, help me out here. There's Amir. I think it's actually clear on the contract. Yeah, so there's Amir Advik. Yeah, Amir Advik, Arav, and Anya. So they are the 4 members of the Federation who control the Federation accounts.
Do they have active keys?
They have owner and active keys, yes.
There you go. There you go.
And how do we interact? Do we hear from them on votes and things like that, or do they stay behind the scenes?
Well, I think these guys are fairly behind the scenes from what I've seen. I mean, obviously, you know, the likes of me and Michael, and so we act as their emissaries, I suppose. Because we'll very happily outline what they're saying, but they do tend to, just set things up in place.
I want to know which one Yates is the emissary for, because that's the evil one.
Yeah. I think it's fairly easy to work that out if you're technically minded.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
So
I guess I could get an actor.
Are those like AIs, these entities?
No, these ones are these are ones which have been put in place by the AI and given powers by the AI.
So are they organic entities or are they artificial?
These are digital entities. These ones.
Sorry?
These are digital only entities.
Okay.
They don't exist within a physical form, even though they can be operated and controlled by us.
And where do they get their power
So they are
to
like,
exist in the digital space? Where do they?
They're given their powers by EOSUSA.
right. So they are like the proxy to IOSHI, like the first level of the firewall, so to speak.
Exactly.
Okay.
So EOSUSA and the EOSHIs, they kind of set up this whole setup, and they, these are some of their agents and their proxies too. Because they can't interact. I mean, or most of the time they don't interact directly with people because the aliens, because they kind of operate on a level a bit above what we can comprehend.
And so where did EOSUSA come from?
That's a mystery. I mean, look, the legends go that there were ancient aliens through initial ancient aliens through mega civilization, the galactic size civilization, that they colonized the whole galaxy and multiple galaxies, and then they all just ended up, dying out and being destroyed. But there were various elements and various intelligences which were left behind by them, and these kind of come out into things like alien worlds. And EOSUSA is kind of the supreme intellect and creator of the alien worlds universe, but their backstory is a little bit fuzzy, let's say, and I think they like it like that.
The defining feature of an AI backstory is that it is fuzzy, because that is what the AI wants it to be, because it's its prime layer of protection, basically.
I think this it's like this common theme that in some ways or another, she's a little bit like a god type figure, but is a little bit more tangible and really comes from somewhere. But the form it takes now is a little bit open, a little bit fluid, a little bit difficult for people to directly interact with. So create constructs which allow them to interact properly. So for instance, we've got the hollow form, which is kind of like this rotating skull. That's just one of the forms of EOSUSA. But rather like, as per most other things, the idea is that EOSUSA will come into play at some point within other quests and so on, once we start rolling that type of thing out. And my thinking, or at least my understanding, is that EOSUSA may well take on different forms and may well come in unexpected ways to people.
For sure.
The suspense coming up.
Yes,
very interesting.
We need suspense. We need to tease stuff out.
Very
Good.
interesting.
Huh.
Well,
Well, like
as
they
soon as
learned
you want to tell you where the next podcasts are and everything for the day.
You broke up a little bit. Say that again.
Oh, I said as soon as you're ready. We have a few minutes left, but as soon as you're done, I'll give you the story about the rest of the broadcast for the day.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, I think that was, I mean, I know I learned a lot, even more than just being on there before, so on the other calls. So I think that was a great session, and probably inspired David to do all sorts of different things now. So yeah.
That would be great, yeah.
Totally.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Michael, for hosting, and Rob and David and Wouter, especially for sharing, and also for the guest appearances by Pramod and Michael. Love that. Thank you so much. Thanks for the leak about the Shining too, Pramod. That was awesome. Already shared that on the official group.
Heard it here first.
Wow.
Just wanted to let y'all know about the schedule we have next up. We're going over to Ken Bozak's YouTube channel. He's going to stream there for an hour, and I'll leave the Zoom open just because we're coming back at right after that. And Boyd is going to share about their DAC. Paradox is going to join us, and I'm excited to hear that because I don't know a lot about Boyd DAC, even though I know they're great people. And then we have the general discussion time open for an hour, anyone who wants. And then we're going to talk about Crownlandia after that. So that'll all be, other than Ken Bozak, that'll all be on the same Zoom we're on now. So feel free to check back in throughout the day. And of course, more fun coming tomorrow. So thank you all again. Michael, anything else?
I think that's it. See y'all in a little while.
Awesome.